Hello, hello. Another beautiful day. Bienvenidos, mi gente. I am Yesse Rodriguez here with Hoy en Día TV. Wow, another week has passed and we are here alive and kicking and keep pushing. That is the goal for Hoy en Día TV, to positively motivate, enlighten, educate, inspire, and hopefully we're entertaining. I say we are. I think we're funny. I guess we'll ask Manny when we bring him on. Manny, you are on. Welcome again, my co-host.
Bendiciones, mi gente, ¿cómo estamos? How's
¿Cómo tú
everybody?
estás? ¿Cómo estás, hermano? ¿Estás bien?
Bien, sí, cansado, pero tú sabes.
Pero chico,
Todo
tú siempre
eso.
estás cansado. ¿Qué
Yeah,
pasa? ¿Por qué tú siempre estás cansado?
I had the fashion show ayer,
Ah,
and then I had to prep for the colonoscopy tomorrow. So, that
wow.
it's like
How do you feel
if
about that?
right. Well, I mean, I was blessed. I feel blessed because I was able to catch the cancer early. So for those viewers that don't know, I had colon cancer when I was 26. So I have to get colonoscopies regularly. So I was blessed. I felt like God, said that you have a purpose here. So it wasn't your time to go. And I had the surgery in 2006, and then I've been fine ever since. So um, it's the prep isn't the greatest.
Yeah,
I hate it, but if it gives me more time in this, in the world, then to fulfill my, destiny, then, and those viewers that are out there, um, that get yourself checked. It's serious. It's something serious, and it shouldn't be overlooked. So
absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, because today's segment is, in essence, about health and beauty, because
right,
our special guest
right,
specializes in
yeah,
just that, especially being an esthetician in
yeah.
her specialty. And so with you bringing up the colonoscopy part of it,
Hmm.
and I agree with you, I highly encourage the audience, the listeners, to get checked. What
Hmm.
were some of the symptoms that you would share with the audience, of things to keep in mind of how you were able to detect your situation before it escalated to something greater?
Well, it's a little graphic. So if you have a weak stomach,
Hey, we're explicit
um,
here. Keeping it
right.
100.
Well, the viewers, let's
Oh, you're warning them.
right,
Gotcha.
warning them. I would have really bad stomach cramps,
Mhm.
like really bad. Like I was on my mom's couch in the fetal position, like it hurt so bad.
Wow.
And when I would, go to the bathroom, it would be blood in my stool. Sometimes when it was real bad, like I would have stomach cramps while I'm on, in the bathroom, and it would just be blood. There wouldn't be anything else coming out. You know what I'm saying? So those were the main symptoms. And I being regardless if I'm a man or it was a woman, just going to the doctor and telling the doctor, hey, I'm bleeding from back there. It's like that pride things comes in. So I dealt with the pain for like a year before I actually, what I would do, the more the different foods that I ate would, cause a reaction. So I would eat light. Like I ate cereal for almost a year because it wouldn't bother me as much. It still did, but it wouldn't hurt as bad. So I just got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. Um, and that's the prideful man in me. I wish I would have dealt with it sooner, but I'm still here. So, and when I was 7, I got my kidney taken out. So, because it got ruptured, kid hit me right in the right place, and it ruptured my kidney. So, yeah, I'm meant to be here for some reason, So, and then with the kidney situations, they told my parents that I would be skinny and frail and always in the hospital and sick, and I was the opposite. I was a chubby kid, so God was like, you here for a reason.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
your testimony. Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Thanks for sharing that.
You're
And
welcome.
so, just to recap some of the symptoms that you experienced, so heavy abdominal cramping, and then you said that there was blood in the stool
Right.
area. Like,
Yeah.
and so, just keeping in mind for the listener, the audience, if you are experiencing that, or if you know someone who is, please get
Yes.
checked.
Definitely
Please put
get
someone
checked.
on his side. I mean, Manny just admitted it. You know, he was trying to be manly about it, but then he realized he should have gotten sooner. And
Right.
it happened. And
Mhm.
it's okay. You know, it's no fault to you. The good thing is that you did go and that you're
Right.
here this day to even be with us here at Oyandia
Right.
TV. So
Right.
praise God.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so Manny, I wanted to do a food for thought. I mean, well, I guess it's more of like a educational piece. I don't know.
Mhm.
So you know that quote that I always have about the sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless, right?
Right.
And
Mhm.
so me being, I call myself a curious George.
Mhm.
The proper name for that cap or the line is called a Karman line. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Karman line. And so from there, we are actually 330,000 feet from the ground to where this Karman line, what's considered outer space, is. So I just found that interesting. So in case anybody ever wanted to know, just a random random food for
Oh,
thought. So,
I just
yeah,
I just
super cool.
googled it.
Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. That's why I say the sky is
So
never
you
the
are a
limit.
nerd.
The galaxies are endless.
Right. So you are a nerd. You're one of those I'm gonna look it up type people. I get
Oh,
it.
proof in the pudding. Yes, I'm all
Exactly.
about the
Exactly.
black and white paperwork. Let me see the proof. Let me see the
Right.
pudding. That's who I'm
That's good.
about.
That's interesting though. That's definitely interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, random, right? But hey, I like to inspire and educate people.
Right.
Something random that you learned. So if you ever need to do a trivia night, there you go. I gave you a freebie right there. All
That's
right, so
awesome though.
continuing on with our health and beauty segment, we have a special guest, Vanessa Bracero from Wisconsin, who is an esthetician and she has her own amazing business she's going to talk to us about. And so without further ado, we are going to bring on the stage Vanessa. Welcome. Bienvenidos.
Hola.
Bendición. Thank you, Jesse and Manny, for having me today.
Yeah,
It's an honor to be here today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
absolutely. Thank you for being here with us.
Yes.
So Vanessa, people are curious to know, who is Vanessa and what
Yes.
does she do?
Who is
Well, I was talking to Manny right before the show started. I think Vanessa has a lot of different lives, but currently I am a licensed esthetician, proud owner of Epidermispa, and I'm a mom of a soon-to-be 8-year-old daughter who is my sun, my moon, and my skies. She's my world. So, but it took a lot to get to where I am today. So if you have a minute, I can totally kind of fill you in on where that, or you can tell me where you want to go with that.
No,
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely.
Give us the
Well, we have a
rundown.
whole hour plus, so we have plenty of time.
Give us the rundown. So,
It's
So,
funny
Manny,
because
I
a lot
know
of
I
people
usually ask
ask,
questions. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
what's
ahead,
that?
Vanessa. What were you
What
saying,
did you
Vanessa? Oh, sorry. I was just giving. I usually take up the questions, so I'm going to give Manny the spotlight to
Okay.
ask questions
Okay.
because no, I want to be fair.
he's a question hog. So, how was your being Latina? She's, our audience. She's Latina. She's Puerto Rican.
Yes.
How was your upbringing? Because I know a lot of Latinos are different. Some of them for generally the same, but I know my upbringing was probably more different than a lot of other people.
Okay.
So, like, was your family close? Like, how was your upbringing?
Oof. Let's see. Well, I grew up in a blended family. I'm the oldest of 6 children. My father was the sole breadwinner, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a very traditional household where my mom did all the cooking, the cleaning, took care of the kids, and my dad was out there making money. We didn't see him a lot. He did a lot of overtime to help raise all of us.
Right.
And I was talking to you a little bit before the segment. My parents were also very young when they had me. So I kind of grew with them, their trauma, their struggles being a parent at 18 years old. So I think being the oldest, I definitely saw a lot of things that I guess I had to grow with my parents. So there was a lot of trauma there. There was a lot of painful memories. But I think my parents did the best that they could. As far as being close, we were when I was younger. We aren't as close now. It's kind of me and my daughter against the world. So I think there's a lot of generational trauma in my family. So I don't know about your guys' upbringings, but there's a lot of trauma there. So
yeah, I think that's a general consensus with Latinos, because my parents had my brother. I think my father was 16. No, I think he was 18. They were young though. And then they had me a year later. So, you know, there was definitely a lot of trauma because they argued a lot. And then my parents stayed together for us, but they weren't happy. And it just made for a really bad breakup when we were in our teenage years. So, you know. Yeah. But my father has since passed, you know, rest in peace. But he's in a better place because he was sick, so he's not in pain anymore.
That's good. I'm sorry to hear that.
You know, and we appreciate you sharing that, because I know that with a lot of those challenges, especially growing up, and you were sharing the experiences and trauma, every individual has different ways of dealing with that, and you took that negativity that was given to you, not all the time, but when it was, right? And you took it and turned it into a positive to who you are today, which is beautiful, because you realized and you identified that you did not want to be swimming in that negative feeling. And I notice a lot of people don't see the glass half full. They see it half empty, and it's kind of like, when it's half full, you can fill it up some more and make it full to how you want it to be. So let's be, you were able to do that, and we appreciate you sharing with us. So then tell us more, like what happened? How did you get to this point in your career now owning a business?
Sure. So I think that there is a lot of growth and pain. And I think I had to go through a lot of things to get to where I'm at today. I was telling Manny a little bit before that starting off when I was 18 years old and graduated high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And I remember talking to my dad, like, Papi, what do you think I should do? And he's like, go be a nurse. And I was like, I had no passion in that. It didn't feel, it wasn't me. But I was like, okay, I kind of took his advice. I knew nursing school would be a very big challenge, a lot of money. I didn't have this scholarship. I didn't really apply myself in high school. So I went and I became an EMT and firefighter right out of high school for 2 years. So I did that thinking that'll be a step in the door, thinking, that would, I don't know, maybe I'd be a nurse. But that did not work out. I did not like the high stress kind of situation that I was in at all times, dealing with people who are hurting or in emergency situations. So from there, I went into banking. I worked so hard. I've always been such a hard worker. And I did everything in my power to grow with the company, and learned very quickly that in order to really make money and have financial freedom or have this title that's going to take me really far, you have to have a degree. So I kind of found myself at square one again. And my mom always inspired me. She was always so beautiful. I loved sitting and watching her do her makeup and do her skincare. And she always had all these steps. And she took me for my first facial when I was 24. And I absolutely just love the experience. I've always been a person I love to be like that servitude spirit. I love to make people feel good. I'm a woman's woman. I love to empower women. So I felt like it was the perfect career path for me. And I got into school right away, graduated at the top of my class. And right out of school, I opened up my own business, which was very risky, but at the time, my ex-husband, or my husband at the time, he really was a business-oriented person. And he was like, just open a business. Don't work for anyone. Open a business. And I was deathly afraid, but I took his advice. And I feel like I I just got this hunger and this drive. I found my why. And then I had my daughter shortly after that. And I think ever since I just want to be a great esthetician. I want to like create financial freedom for my family, show my daughter that you can pursue your dreams and you can do anything despite your upbringing, your financial background, or, you know, whatever that you've been through in life. Absolutely. So I just want to inspire her and be someone that she's proud of.
Awesome.
And that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We appreciate you sharing that. And so obviously this road to entrepreneurship is not easy. The times that you may have doubted yourself, or if you ever doubted yourself, how did you keep going? How did you keep pushing?
I think that in order to be, because I don't think everyone is made to be an entrepreneur. I think people think, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur so I can work for myself and I can make my own hours and I don't have to work as much. And honestly, I think I work more now than any job that I've ever had in my life. I wear all the hats in the business. I do everything. I'm a content creator. I'm doing the procurement. I'm ordering products, inventory, just everything. And it's never ending. And so I don't think that everyone is fit to be an entrepreneur. However, my why was my daughter. I think after I gave birth to her, I just felt like this superwoman. And I wanted to do something bigger than life, bigger than myself. And I really wanted to challenge myself. So I think that in times that I have doubted myself, my why was so big that there was a no failure option. I'm very hard on myself and I don't give up easily. So I cry a lot in the shower. And there are times that I've wanted to quit, but you know, it's just a moment. I kind of just, I like bring myself together and I'm like, you know what, this is just a season and you need to find a solution. Stop creating more problems and figure out the next step. So yeah, that's kind of, I guess I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Manny, I see steam coming out of here. You have a question over there.
But I do commend you for, like, most women when they give birth, like they get that there's no failure option. A lot of men feel the same, but it's more in women. I've noticed, like they I mean, you know, they're the ones that birth the child and, you know, they raise the child. And sadly, the statistics of men being around is not good for, you know, the home team. But there are still some guys out there that either co-parent or are still in a relationship with their kid's mother. But I definitely commend women for being having that mentality. Now, that's not to say that all women are that way, because they're not. But a majority of women are like, you know, I'm not going to accept failure, you know.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to instill into your children. Everything that you're showing your daughter, she's seeing it regardless if you think so or not. And she's going to be a better person for that. And that's awesome. Because
I hope so.
Kids these days, like they don't even go outside anymore. Like, I don't understand. Why? You just want to be inside on your phone. And what I don't get is they will watch a video on YouTube of somebody else playing a video game. Why not just play the game yourself? Why are you watching somebody else? I don't get that.
It's funny you say that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you. I was like, yeah, that's a good point.
I was going to say, not to, you know, to your point, you mentioned that you see more women kind of having that drive for their children. To be fair, I actually just heard another person talk about this. Men, there's no consequence for men not being in the child's life, right? They can pick up and leave if they want to. Where women, we don't have a choice, you know, we can't just quit being a mom. So I think that there's just a lot more pressure on women and mothers because you can give up on your kids, but if you really love your children, you know, You don't really have a choice. And I think I think it's a great thing for me because my daughter is truly the best thing that's ever happened to me. She saved my life. So
I agree with that. But on the flip side, there are women out there because, like I said, my mom's mother, gave her up, and my grandfather stepped in. You know, he's passed away, but you know, I give him a lot of props, and I'm proud to be his grandson because he took my mom and raised her. And you know, he did the best he could with what he had. Back then, you know, education wasn't really a big thing. So my mom, she didn't complete high school. I don't know what my grandfather as far as school was, but he was a hard worker. So he instilled that in her, and she instilled that in me. So, you know,
that's awesome.
Yeah. But there are women out there that don't really care about their kids. But the women that do, like y'all are, you know, A+ in my book.
Thank you.
You know, and I agree with Vanessa. You know, being a mom and being able to carry a child, feeling the kicks and, you know, the love nudges, so to speak, that they give you in your belly is a different feeling, right?
Yeah.
So I thank God that I can't understand or won't be able to understand why there are individuals in this world that exist, both men and women, who don't want to be a part of their child's life. That's a part of you. This is a portion of who you are.
Yeah.
That's a part of you. You know, and so with that in mind, what barriers have you encountered throughout this journey of being a mompreneur, having your child, having a family, but also having a business? How does that work with the whole work-life balance?
Sure. Work-life balance used to be something that I obsessed about. I would kill myself to make sure that I was perfect in every area. And I think that is something that is probably one of my biggest flaws, is being a perfectionist. If it's not perfect, then it's awful, you know? And I watched a video about a mom who had a bunch of kids and her kids were just happy and her house was a mess. And to me, that was like the ultimate sin. And she said something like, you can obsess and obsess and obsess about your house being perfect and everything being clean, and you're going to miss out on your children playing and actually being present in those moments. And so I've learned to kind of scale back. My house isn't always immaculate. You know, sometimes there's piles of laundry, and instead of obsessing about it and stressing and kind of being a bear in my house, my poor boyfriend, I've learned to kind of take a step back and be like, you know what? It's really not that serious. I'd rather play Mancala with my daughter or go for a walk with her. And you know what? The dishes will be there when I get back and I will do them then, you know? Right. And as far as like my business, I could be crazy successful and making six figures. I'm not quite there yet. However, I think I put my family first. I think that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You can kind of scale it the way you want. And for me, my family is the most important. So instead of just killing myself and taking clients from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, I do take days off. I do take weekends off. I go to my daughter's field trips because my daughter's going to remember that. You know, I can be a workaholic, but she's going to grow up and be like, yeah, well, my mom was never there. She was working all the time. Right. So yes, I could make tons more money, but I think that I'd rather like nurture that relationship that I didn't have growing up with my daughter. I want her and I to be like this when we grow up or when she grows up, you know? So I think as far as work-life balance, I've learned to not obsess about it as much because there's no such thing, you know?
Right.
Absolutely.
And as far as my career is concerned, I actually opened up my first business in 2016. It was called Skin Evolved, and I built that thing from the ground up. I mean, it was right out of school. I had no rich daddy, no loans, no credit cards. I had a tiny little savings account. And I remember when I graduated, all these young girls, because I was already like 26 at the time, and all these girls were young. Their parents were buying them all these gadgets and tons of inventory and products, and they were doing lashes and waxing and brows and this, that, and the other. And I wanted to do all those things, but I didn't have the means to do it. And I remember my ex-husband at the time was like, you know what? get a few products. There was a machine that I had my eyes on. I was able to finance it. He's like, focus on one thing and become a master at it. Don't worry about having all this extra stuff. Just do that. And I was so bummed out by that because I'm like, but I want to do all these things. I want to have all this stuff. And my first year in business, after my first year in business, I got Best Facial from Milwaukee's A-List. I got an award for Best Facial in Milwaukee.
Congratulations.
Thank you. In my second year, I got nominated by the Mequon Chamber of Commerce for Best Facial Spa. And let me tell you, I was in a little office. Like, I was not in some big spa. I was renting an office. And my desk and my esthetician bed were in the same room. It was not much to look at, little paint on the walls. I had little chucherias and stuff, but it was not like this, big name spa. And in Mequon, there are really big name, high end spas. So to be nominated for Best Facial Spa was so humbling to me, because if they only knew all the blood, sweat, and lots of tears that it took to kind of build that. Right. So kind of fast forward a little bit, I had my business for 3 years, and my husband at the time, my daughter's father, his business, he had a t-shirt company. He was doing like graphic art on t-shirts. And there was a freak accident at our house that forced him to close his business like overnight. Yeah. Within a week, he was like, we're moving to Florida, close your business. And I was just like, I'm sorry, what? I was absolutely devastated. But I think he thought that my business was just a hobby and that I would never be successful. Right. And I followed him as a good wife should do. And we went to Florida, and our marriage fell apart within about 8 months. Wow. And I moved back to Milwaukee, and I filled a suitcase with everything I could fit of my daughters. And I started from rock bottom. I remember I went to the doctor. I kind of got, acclimated back in Milwaukee, got my PCP, all that stuff. And I went for a checkup, and I remember my doctor was like, how much do you weigh? And I'm like, well, I know I lost a little bit of weight. I'm probably like 120. And I remember stepping on the scale, and it said 101. And I was just like, no, that's broken. But I had endured so much stress. There was a lot there with my marriage that I think that in the best of times and in the worst of times, you see people's true colors. And I think that at the time I felt like I was being crushed. I felt like my whole life was falling apart. And honestly, hindsight looking back, I would do it all over again, because I am such a different woman today than I was then. I'm so much stronger. I think that going through all of that really showed me what I was made of. And I don't think I would be as successful today if I hadn't gone through all of that. So yeah, I moved back to Milwaukee, and a week later, COVID hit and the whole world shut down. I was like, I'm going to go back to Milwaukee. I'm going to open up my business. And COVID was like, no, you ain't. So I felt like for a while there, I felt like, I guess the only thing I can think of is like I was in this mud pit, and water was just trickling down, and I would climb up and I'd slide down. And I remember talking to God and being like, why are you doing this to me? Like, why is this happening to me? And I had to have a little ego death and like a reality check. Like, who do you think you are? You're not that special from the next person. And I think that I had to go through all of that. I really did, to really humble myself, get back, on the horse and figure out my life. And being a single mom and having this beautiful little girl to inspire me every day was what really pushed me and drive me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Well,
I know.
COVID took out a lot of people.
Yes. Yeah.
And although you say it's a lot, I agree, it is a lot, but you are the survivor. You survived, you pushed through, you were resilient. And sadly, there's the other side where not a lot of people can think like you do. Right. And so I'm going to peel the onion here a little bit. And so for an individual, man or woman, that may be in a similar situation that what you just shared, where you were a devoted wife in your marriage before the divorce took place or the separation. And from there, how would you talk to that person that's going through something similar than what you did to kind of encourage them to keep pushing and not just kind of let themselves go back in the shadows and just be non-existent, so to speak?
Sure. That's a good question, because if I'm being real with myself and being real with you, because I don't want to fake the funk, there was a big chunk of time that I really was just licking my wounds. I think COVID really allowed me to kind of hide. You know, we had to wear masks. I came back to Milwaukee. No one knew I was here. It really gave me time to heal. So I do think that if I were to speak to anybody, I would tell them to focus on healing. Like, you know, when it comes to trauma or something devastating in your life, just like a wound, if you don't clean it out and you try to sew it back up, it's just going to fester. It's going to be infected. It's not going to heal right. You really got to do the groundwork. You really got to do the shadow work. You really need to dig deep and try to, I guess, look at everyone's circumstances are different, but you really need to do the work. And I think that if I would have just swept it under the rug and kept going, I think that that's where people kind of fall, because you can't just sweep everything under the rug. You can't just sew up a wound that's infected. It's going to come back to you. So especially as a mom, I think that I went through a lot with my parents because they went through a lot with their parents. So I'm really trying to break generational curses here. I'm really trying to show my daughter a new way of life. It's okay to cry. You can feel your feelings. I'm not going to, you know, tell you to be quiet or whatever. So I think I've done a lot of healing, and I've also learned a lot about myself. So if I was talking to anyone, I think I'd be very real with them in that sense, not just kind of be their hype person and be like, you've got this and you're amazing and you're this and you're that. Just keep pushing, because, you know, you can get that from anywhere, but it's not really going to be effective. I think that you got to be real with yourself, and you got to do the work, you know, whatever that looks like, whether it's therapy or whether it's, you know, if there's a broken relationship, trying to mend it, or trying to, you know, ask for forgiveness, or trying to forgive yourself. I think that as humans, we're all having this human experience. I think that we all carry chains of guilt and shame and heavy stuff. And it's always going to be there. And once you start doing the work, it gets so much lighter, you know. And I think I really had to also dig deep in spiritual realm. I started seeking God and, you know, just really leaning on him, because I think that, and not to get too like religious, but as humans, you know, we don't know what we're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. We're all trying to figure it out. And you need to have something to lean on, a foundation to lean on.
Absolutely. That's deep. Definitely.
Yeah.
Before I ask my question, I'll let you ask yours.
That wasn't a question. It's appreciated that some people are real and they're just not hype people. You know what I'm saying? I feel like those hype people, some of them are just fake. They just want to see you succeed, so that way you could carry them with you.
Yeah.
But the people that are real and tell you how it is and what it is, I feel like those are true friends, because they don't just, you know, sugarcoat things for you. So that's
absolutely,
you know, I wouldn't want people in my circle like that. You know, my circle is really small, you know. So
I think people are afraid to walk their authentic self, like be in their authentic self. I think that I see it, especially with social media. You mentioned social media earlier. I think social media is kind of ruining people, because you're posting all the great things in your life, but deep down there's real stuff that's happening. And I think that needs to also be shared so that you can relate to other people. Exactly. You know, for a long time, I was very ashamed of everything that I went through: a failed marriage, a failed business. Like, I just felt like a failure. But that is my testimony. You know, that is, I feel like now when someone talks to me about something that they went through, I'm like, hey, I went through something similar. Like, I feel like I can talk to them and help kind of bring them out of it. Like, maybe God chose me to be a strong soldier so I can help other people, you know?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And that's kind of why well, I don't know why Yesse started the show, but I know when she brought it back, that was one of the reasons to try to show people that what social media shows you is not completely the picture. It
Yeah.
might be part of it because, once you reap the rewards of, the things that you do, you're able to, be on that boat with the champagne or be in the jet or drive that car. But there's a lot of things that people don't see that social media doesn't show you because they don't want you to see, the hardships and the trials and the tribulations and the tears and, the blood and the sweat that you have to put in to actually be a part of, that what social media shows you.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I think everybody wants to have this picture perfect, beautiful life. And so, they share the best parts of their life thinking, and I don't know. I think that that's fine. I definitely do not share everything on my social media, but I do share a lot of my hurdles and challenges. And I have had people be like, why do you share that stuff? Like you should share, fake the funk or fake it till you make it. And I'm like, no, I think that people appreciate realness, and also I want to mention before I forget, because you asked me, you keep kind of boasting me. You're like, I guess, talking so great about my accomplishments, but I will be honest too. In 2022, I found love again. So 2 years after my divorce, I found love again. And it was with a platonic friend of mine. I never looked at him in that way. He was my friend. And I think that because of the things that I saw growing up in relationships, I always gravitated to toxicity. So I have a pattern of these long relationships that were not very healthy. And after I came back to Milwaukee and started doing the work and going to church and getting therapy and healing, this man comes along and I'm like, he's too nice. And I literally heard myself say it. And I'm like, wait, what am I saying? He is my best friend, and he is a big part of why my business is successful too, because I am not just this crazy strong woman. I still cry. I still have emotions. I still have triggers. I still, second guess myself and have, and I think we all do. I think J-Lo, I remember reading or seeing an interview of her, and she said there's times where she feels insecure or not confident. And I'm like, what? Like J-Lo?
Well,
so we all experience that, but he is like my number one cheerleader. He is always kind of, when I'm doubting myself, he's always boosting up my confidence. And I feel like he's a big portion of, or part of why my business is also successful.
Right. Yeah. That's the way this industry was and is. We don't see a lot of celebrities, backstories because that people didn't really care about that. They just wanted to see the glitz and the glamour.
Yep.
Now it's more, I think it's more prevalent now. People just being real,
Yes.
and she's gotten and a lot of celebrities have gotten to a place now where they just feel like, I don't want to be fake anymore. You know what I'm saying? I want to be real and show people what this life truly is and what it takes from you and what you have to give.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so listening to you both make valid points. It is true. And to go back to Manny's comment, yes, you're right. Spot on, Manny. I brought Oyendia back to, like I shared earlier, positively motivate, enlighten, entertain, educate, and inspire people. Because looking around, especially in social media or talking to different people throughout the years, there was a lot of negativity that a lot of people were holding within themselves and their lives, surrounded by relationships or friendships or what have you that were toxic. And so I wanted to create this podcast to highlight and spotlight those, to remind people that we're human. Just like Vanessa was saying earlier, we're living in day to day as a human in everybody's different experiences, trying to do the best that we can. And we're not perfect. Things are going to happen. But how do you deal with that obstacle when it comes your way? How are you going to hit it straight on and not kind of fall in the shadows and say, I'm going to give up because it's too hard. No, that's not what we're here for. Keep pushing. You could do this. Life is not easy. I know.
Yes.
And these two individuals know, based on what we've heard from Manny earlier in the past, and also from Vanessa, and what you all heard from me as well in past episodes. And so that's why I love Oyandia TV. And then similar to you, Vanessa, I have a great partner who also supports Oyandia and also encourages. Having that strong foundation is definitely important. Yes. And it looks like you found it with your partner, which is amazing. And everybody's foundation comes from different places, whether it be a friend. Because I remember you mentioning a few moments ago that you all started off as platonic friends. Yes. And now it evolved, right? And so whether you have a great friend that you trust or a colleague or what have you, there are people or some people like to rely on their pets, which is fine. Hey, if you have your pet that's strong too, go for it. Whatever strong foundation.
Hey, that is weird to me. That is definitely weird to me.
What do you
my child is my dog. Like, what? No. Child.
You have a dog?
No. I have a snake. I have a snake. I've had her for 4 years. Her name is Isis.
She's not your daughter?
Well, I mean, I joke with my kids. I'm like, your sister is over here lonely. I definitely want to shout out to those step-in dads. Those men, because it's difficult being a man, and I'm kind of in a relationship with a woman that has children already, and I've done that before in many cases, but it's difficult to be in a relationship with somebody. Not difficult, I don't want to say that, but just it's kind of fearful because you don't know how that child is going to react to you being there and their father not being there. Mm-hmm. But most kids are very receptive. So as long as you're not like, you don't have a bad aura, because they could feel energy,
Oh yeah.
So thankfully the kids that I'm around, they enjoy my company, so it's cool. So just shout out to those, because it's nerve-wracking, first meeting, beautiful women like y'all, but then you're like, well, I have a kid, and it's not an issue to some men, but it's like, oh, she has a kid, I wonder if they're gonna like me. And then sometimes it's a deal breaker for women if their kid doesn't like the man, and it's like, well, if you can't be around my child, then we can't really date, because I'm around my child, so
or even dealing with the children's father, that can also be challenging.
That's another thing, but it's more prevalent with the child, because the child is 24/7 with you. He doesn't really have to deal with the father unless like it's a birthday situation, or if y'all live together and he comes to pick him up, or stuff like that. But it's more prevalent with the child. You got to get that love from the child. So
I think at the end of the day, kids just want love and attention and to be seen. So I think my daughter it was a little different, because when he came into our lives, she was 4 years old. Okay. And, at that age, she just wants to play. But he was very good with children. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of nieces and nephews, and he just loved her. And she's so easy to love. So, he just loved her, and he made it about her and I. And I think that's what made me fall so hard for him, because it wasn't just about me and her kid. He made it about us. He buys both of us flowers. He treats us both to fancy dinners, and so she sees what it's, I think because I felt so ashamed not being with her father anymore, but that was not a healthy situation. And I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can date again. Like, I have a daughter, like I can't just be dating out here, and it's scary these days. So I think I got very lucky. And I can't, God had my back, seriously, because he gives us his first fruits. He comes home from work, she jumps in his arms, and they sit on the floor for like 20 minutes talking about their day before he can even put his keys down or his phone down. So I think she sees how he treats me, and I pray to God that she, finds someone like him, finds someone that is, a strong father figure, a great man who knows how to treat their woman in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So
that is beautiful. Awesome. Wow, absolutely amazing. So fast forwarding, now you have an amazing, successful business. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
So tell us, for those individuals who want to book you, like let's say if I live far away, so obviously I can't book with you. Unless I come visit one of these days, maybe I'll just pop up.
I'll hook you up, girl.
What can I expect? So I go on your website, or do I call you? How does the process work for scheduling?
So I try to make it as easy as possible for people. I feel like the young generation, they're all about technology. So booking online is very easy for them. But I do have some individuals that are just not so tech savvy. So I try to accommodate everybody. But you can book directly on my website at www.epidermispa.com. Plug. And there's my services. There's something for new clients. There's services for men. I actually have a lot more men coming to get facials now. Men are starting to take more care of their skin. And in my spa specifically, we focus on anti-aging, acne, like repairing the skin from sun damage or acne scars. And I have 6 certifications, and I'm still building. I definitely want to get more things under my belt, but I had to start from the ground up again. So I'm really just focused on treating my clients like royalty. I incorporate lymphatic facial massage. And I think the experience that I get from my clients, first of all, everyone falls asleep. Everybody falls asleep. That's like a compliment for me. I'm like, yes. But it's funny because I was with a group of estheticians, and they're like, what's the best like machine or product that for your business? And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? My hands. I feel like my hands are my bread and butter. I've had estheticians come to me, and they're like, that was the best facial I've ever had. I've had people that have had facials in Paris and Korea, and they're like, you are up there, like top 3. So I think that because I love what I do so much, gracias a Dios, because I have lived so many different lives, and I've had so many different kinds of jobs. And this one, I just absolutely love. My clients come and they're happy. They're happy when they leave. I don't feel like I have to go to work. I feel like I get to go to work, and I get to make people feel confident in their skin. And that is rewarding in itself. So I think that if you have a passion for something, it just kind of oozes out of you.
That's amazing. Awesome. That gets me so excited, though. I love facials, and you're so far away. Oh, I have to wait.
Well, if you're ever in town, I will hook you up with a free facial, girl. I got you.
Oh, yes. Hey, and maybe you should consider in the future franchising. Food for thought, just putting it out there in the universe.
Maybe. I don't know exactly which direction I want to go, but I appreciate that I have an opportunity to, in 5 years, say, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to open up a school? Do I want to be a boss and have estheticians as my employees? Do I want to open up a salon suites where other talented individuals can come that are in the same industry and have, a one-stop shop, lashes, facials, massage, whatever that looks like? I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure that out, but in the meantime, I'm just enjoying what I do now. I love it so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
For a client who comes in and they know they want to get a facial, but they don't know quite yet, or based on the options you have, what would be the best for them? Do you have like a questionnaire that you go through with them, or do you have a preliminary phase before they come in? How does that process work?
Thank you for asking. That's a great question, actually. So with every new client, sometimes clients will book a service, and when they come in, we do something completely different. I customize every treatment to the client's needs and their goals. And before I even touch their face, we do a very thorough questionnaire so I can get to know their skin, get to know the history of their skin, what products they're using, and kind of develop a plan of action. And it really I try to gauge the person. I can tell if someone is just coming for relaxation, and I'm not going to try to push products on them or be a sales shark or try to tell them that they have to come every month. I really try to make people feel comfortable and not pressure in any way, shape, or form. So if someone comes to me and says, hey, I haven't taken great care of my skin, but I want to start now. What do you think I should get? We kind of go through that questionnaire together. I find out what their budget looks like. What does their time look like? Are they able to come every 4 weeks or maybe every season, every couple months? And I really try to tailor it to each person so that they feel, I want to build that trust and rapport with them and not just feel like they're just a number or that I don't appreciate them. Because every person that comes into my business, whether they're getting the cheapest service or the most expensive, I treat everyone the same.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is definitely awesome.
And so for the male or the men who are interested in facials, is there something different that you do with them in comparison to women, since we're, men and women, or is just skin to skin regardless of the service that you get?
Sure. So I did develop a men's service menu because I think that, if a man is thinking, I'm thinking about getting a service, if they come to my website and it looks like it just caters to women, they might feel a little insecure to book something. Mm-hmm. So I created a service menu for men, but the custom facial is definitely the same as a woman's facial. Again, completely customized to their unique skin. But I do have an additional facial. It's called the men's bearded facial. And I cater to really conditioning the I almost said fur. Oh my God. So I don't know why I was thinking fur. Conditioning the beard, really focusing on exfoliating, because men don't really exfoliate under their beard. So, they deal with ingrown hairs, or they might have patches that don't grow in as full. So we really just try to get in there. I do a very deep cleansing of the beard, exfoliating that skin. I use high frequency, which is a modality that I use that it looks like a glass comb, and there is a gas that runs through it, and it stimulates blood circulation. It helps that hair, or the beard hair, grow in a little bit thicker, healthier. And then we finish the facial off with a beard oil, so it's looking super clean, super crispy, very hydrated.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, man, you're gonna have to come.
Yeah, I'm definitely coming to Wisconsin, straight up. Actually, there was a lady at the fashion show yesterday. She gave me one of her cards. She was doing like a 50% discount. I'm gonna find that card and I'm gonna check her out.
Yeah. Did she do facials?
Yeah, she was an esthetician. Well, that's what the card said. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you should definitely go. It's honestly, it's funny because when I first started as an esthetician, I think I knew what I wanted to do. I think I was just like, I want to make people feel beautiful. But I think that self-care is so important. And I don't think that, especially women, I think that we put ourselves on the back burner often, with kids. I can think of my priority list and I'm always at the bottom. So I'm really always trying to promote self-care, because at the end of the day, like when it comes to mental health and just being healthy in general, you really got to take the time to pour into your own cup, because you can't pour out of an empty cup. So whatever that looks like for you, you got to make time for self-care. So I'm preaching to myself too.
Yeah, I feel you, because I love facials and getting all that stuff done. So yes, I agree. And you being a professional in your field, what is the recommended time frame? Should they come every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, every 3 months? Like, what is the recommendation that you have for your clients?
That's a great question also. So the benefits of a facial last 4 to 6 weeks. So, with the skin cycle, as far as like dead skin cells kind of add, stacking up on top of each other, that dullness, that brightness kind of loses its luster after about 4 to 6 weeks. But since I've been in this industry, I'm always trying to make sure that my clients have the tools when they go home to maybe even extend that a little bit. Because again, this economy is rough. And although I am trying to make money and be a successful business owner, I'm also trying to cultivate that trust with my clients. So I believe that having good skincare at home, having a good regimen, you don't have to have expensive products, but I'm always trying to educate my clients on products that are good for their skin type so that they can have healthy, glowing skin for longer periods of time. But to your question, benefits of a facial, about 4 to 6 weeks. But I always let clients know, like, you can come every 4 to, I have clients that come every 4 weeks. So, like, book me 4 weeks from today. Like, I don't want a day less or a day more.
Right.
But then, as far as budget, some people just don't have it. So every 2 months is good. Or men are a little bit less high maintenance. Usually my male clients come every 3 months, usually once a season.
Okay. So what's the price range on facials?
Sure. So my custom facial is $120. It's kind of like a base, huh?
I said that's not bad.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I try not to have my prices be too crazy expensive. I do think that I'm worth that money. I pour a lot into my craft. It's not just my products or the overhead. I'm always educating myself, getting different certifications. When I'm not taking clients, I'm constantly pouring into my business and reinvesting into myself. So my prices aren't super cheap, but they're not like super expensive. And with that custom facial, I mean, I spoil my client. I massage their face, their neck, their chest, their shoulders, arms, hands, and from the knees down to the feet. So I really take my time and make sure that my client feels like butter when they leave. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Wow.
And it's funny because I've had a few estheticians say, you massage the legs and feet. And I'm like, they're like, you don't need to do that. Just leave the mask on. I'm like, no, it feels good. Like, I want my client to leave there feeling like, like, I feel so good. I can't wait to come back. I could cut corners and not massage their feet, but if it feels good, they're going to want to come back. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you different and special in what you do. You got to be different from everybody else. And you got that. That's amazing. Absolutely. And so talking about products, I see that you have a lot of great products where there's one here called green tea citrus. It won several prizes since 2018 or in 2018. So what are some of the products that you recommend, especially on your site? You have a lot of great products.
I do. I have a few product lines, and for me, it's very important. For me, ingredients is important. I have had clients bring in some eye cream that they got in Paris for $350, and I look at the ingredients and I'm like, that's not a great product. Like, there's nothing in there. Like, it's a glorified cream. It's just a thicker lotion. So I am all about ingredients that are going to take your skin to the next level without breaking the bank. So I have a few different skincare lines that I carry. One being Skin Script with that green tea citrus cleanser. That's just a gentle cleanser. One of my favorite cleansers that's actually in my arsenal of products. And then I have a skincare line that caters to people with very, very sensitive skin. Recently, I had a couple clients come in where we just cleanse their skin with a gentle cleanser, and I can see that their skin is reacting negatively. So it was very important to me to make sure that I'm catering to those clients as well. So I obtained that product line as well. And then I am an acne specialist. So I have Face Reality Skincare, which is an acne line. And it caters to people with all forms of acne. And it's really interesting because when I went to school, the chapter on acne was very short. We learned the basics, but then when I would get clients, I would try different things and it just wasn't successful. And when I became an acne specialist, everything that I learned kind of went out the window. I relearned everything. I took a grueling course. Took me a while, but I'm so glad that I invested in that course because I have had clients come in with full-blown acne and 3 months later their skin is completely clear, and that is such a rewarding feeling because your face is the first thing that people see, and when you're covered in acne, it does a lot to your self-esteem. And there's actually statistics that show that people with severe acne, there is a percentage of people that commit suicide, because it's so bad that they are just so consumed with, insecurities and lack of confidence and just feeling so bad about themselves. So being able to change someone's skin like that is a rewarding feeling. So I definitely want to add to my line of products, but I'm very intentional with the products that I do obtain. If I don't love it, I'm not gonna sell it or not gonna have it in my spa.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. That is awesome. Well, hey, one of these days when I go back to visit Wisconsin, I'm definitely going to stop by and say hi and get a facial.
You
Most
have
definitely.
beautiful skin, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm OCD about my skin. You can ask my honey. Like, I'm just, I just look up stuff, research stuff, and I look at ingredients just like you, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and then from the ingredients I study, I Google those ingredients to like, okay, what is this
Yeah.
down?
That's music to my ears.
Because I agree with you. Your face is the first thing people see, and first impressions matters, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I learned is that first impressions matter, and so you always want to put your best foot forward. And I get it. Some people have acne and other things that they just need help with, and it's okay. That's why you come along to help them with those situations. So that is amazing. And so we are getting to the segment of closing Oyandia TV. Slowly winding down. I enjoyed the conversation we've had. It was great having you, and
most definitely.
it was a pleasure getting to know you and your business and what you do, and you're definitely positively impacting lives in the health and beauty. So kudos to you on that. Any last minute words that you want to share with the audience of Oyandia TV?
I get I kind of threw me off a little bit. I guess what I would like to leave off with is that if you feel like you have a dream that you want to pursue, go for it. I think that anything that you put your mind to, you can be successful at, and don't ever give up on yourself. I think that's it.
And just remind the audience of how they can find you, reach you, and book you for an appointment for facial.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I am located in Wisconsin. I'm in Waukesha, Brookfield area near Brookfield Corners. And you can visit my website, epidermispa.com. I'm also on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, which I'm still dabbling in. But yeah, under Epidermispa, which I'm pretty sure you have the spelling of it because I know it's a mouthful.
Yeah, I'll add that for you. No problem at all. Absolutely. I'll put it in the description.
And anyone that books from Oyandia, if you mention Oyandia, I'm happy to give $30 towards your next service.
Oh, that's cool. I'll be sure to mention Oyandia. We're like, remember Oyandia?
Oh yes, and the good thing is that with Oyandia, we're not only on Facebook, IG, X, YouTube. We're also on Spotify Music, Samsung Music, Deezer, RSS, and what was the other one?
Did you get the Apple Music?
We're working on getting on Apple Music. Those are the two between Pandora, Apple Music. Those are the two, and iHeart. Those are the three that are a little bit tougher to get in. But I'm going to break those barriers, and we're going to be in there very soon.
I like that.
Hey, I need to come and break some kneecaps. I got it.
You're funny. Manny, hermano, it is tu turno. Your turn to tell us words.
So, like I always say, don't let the fear of failure overcome the righteousness of success. Just like Yesse and I and Vanessa, we've been through a lot in our lives. We've had barriers and we've had doors closed in our faces. We've had life-changing obstacles, but we didn't let it we didn't let it stop us or deter us from what we were trying to do. And you shouldn't either. If your passion is to become an entrepreneur, then do it. If you want to be a 9-to-5 guy, lady, then do that. But be happy in what you do. Don't be stuck somewhere wondering what if, because life is short. So you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, authormanmorales.com. DM me if you want an autographed book. DM me if you want any financial education services. Just DM me because I don't have friends. Just DM me. Have a chat.
Hold up. What am I supposed to be? Hold up.
I don't have a lot of friends. You're like my sister, though.
But your friend, though, like friend, sister. I mean, You have
but you're all the way in North Carolina. I'm in Florida. That's
we're gonna have a chat when we conclude the show, sir. Mhm.
All right, what about you, Yesse? What you got?
Yes. So this has been another amazing episode. Always pleased, always happy to have the amazing guests that we have on Hoy en Dia, and you all listening, viewing, supporting. Thank you as well from the bottom of our hearts. We say thank you for that support and just cheering us on. So for those who share, like, post, comment, thank you, and thank you. Helping Hoy en Dia grow. I'm proud to say that we are scheduled out with guests right now, end of January of 2025, closely approaching February. So for those who want to be on Hoy en Dia TV, we're scheduling for February of 2025.
Nice.
Email us at hoyendiatv@gmail.com. Just say, hey, I would love to be on. I would love to chat about XYZ, and we can make it happen. Yeah. Also, you can follow us on social media as well. Facebook, YouTube, IG, X. Listen to us on Spotify, on Samsung Music, RSS.com, Deezer. What was the other one? Podcast Notes? Yes. We have a lot, but hey, nevertheless, you can also Google me, Yesse Rodriguez. You can find all my social media pages, a little bit about me with my acting, modeling, podcasting, entrepreneurship, a little bit of this and that. You know how I do. That's all un poco. That's just me. As a final statement, a closure, my favorite quote, the sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless. Take care. Until next time.
Adios.
Guys, adios.